Cool. Okay, now we're organised. Bit of a glitch. I don't know what's going on there. There we go. Get rid of that. All right, all systems go. So I'm just going to start my live on Facebook. Good morning, everyone on Facebook. So thank you, everyone, for being here. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Jodie Siemens. I am from Taking Perspective. I am a lifestyle accountability and mindset coach. I help primarily busy professional women stop running flat out in circles and gaining some balance in their private and personal life. I hold 15 to 20-minute webinars here every Friday at around 10:30 a.m. The topics will vary, and at the moment we are on week 4 of the top tips for accountability. And if you'd like to catch up on the others, I've uploaded them onto my YouTube channel so you can check them out there. For those of you who watch this later on Facebook, please just put a hashtag replay and let me know you've seen it and any comments you've got. So it's great to be here this morning. It's actually a bit balmy here in Melbourne. I think we're expecting some stormy weather though. So I would also want to just take a moment to let you all guys know of a free hypnosis session that I am doing. So next Thursday at, on the 9th, next Thursday, the 9th of September at 8 p.m, I'm holding a free hypnosis session. For those of you who've been following my posts, you'll know that I've been chatting a lot about procrastination and the reasons around why we procrastinate and how it affects our lives. So I thought it might be a good time to throw in a free hypnotic session on procrastination itself. So I'm really excited to offer that to you guys. I will post the link in the comments after we've finished the webinar. You will also find the link pinned to my timeline if you want to jump on there and register. Okie dokie. So let's get started. So this week we will be chatting about in our top tips for accountability. How do you show accountability? What does it mean to be accountable? And what does accountability look like? So you can see there's a little picture I've popped in there. Accountability is the glue that ties commitment to results. So the first one we're going to start with is how do we show accountability? How do you show accountability? So there's a number of ways that you can be seen to be showing accountability, and here are the few off the top of the list. So the first one is admit your wrongdoings. Perhaps it's one of the most obvious ones for the way you hold yourself accountable. Say hi if you're watching on Facebook. Yeah, so it's one of the most obvious ones, the way you hold yourself to be accountable and admit when you're wrong or if you've made a mistake. There's a lot to be said for someone who is willing and happy to say that was me, you know, and help find a solution. The next one we've got is take pride in your work. So since you are responsible for the work that you complete as an individual, it's really important that you give it your all and take some pride in what you're putting out there, because people are seeing what you are doing, whether you work for yourself as an individual or whether you work for an organization or a company. People are watching you. You could be a leader in your field, and everyone watches everything that you do. So take some pride in what you do. The next one is don't make excuses. So there's a difference between an excuse and a valid reason. And generally the difference between them is an excuse is you're trying to justify a fault or a problem or a wrongdoing. And a reason is an explanation for something. So don't make excuses. If something is going wrong, you know, you need to, as we said before, admit your wrongdoings, and, you know, there's always an explanation as to why something has gone wrong. The next one we have is be transparent. So if you're struggling with a task, ask for help. If you don't think you'll be able to meet your deadline, then again, let people know, whether it's for yourself and you've got a deadline for a client, or whether you're in a group situation and you're part of the task, you're just not able to meet that deadline. You need to be transparent. You need to let people know where you stand, and you may find that people will help you. So, you know, people like transparency. So the next one is contribute. When you work for a company, it's a part of your job to represent the company well and at all times. When you work for yourself, you're also representing yourself and who you are. People buy you. They don't buy your product. They don't buy your service. They actually buy you. So within a company situation, you represent that company. So that's where you need to be upfront and contributing to everything that's going on. Which brings me to the next one, which is actually be upfront. Might have crossed over a little bit there. So yeah, the last one there is actually be upfront. So your issues at work are your responsibilities, and avoiding them is avoiding your own responsibilities. If you have a problem, whether it be with a software you're using or with people in your team, it even could be being on time because you have something going on in your private life. You need to address it. You need to let people know. There's nothing worse than, you know, the secrecy behind someone's got a problem. And, you know, you don't have to let everybody know, but you certainly need to let the person you're accountable to know, which ideally would be your supervisor, your manager, or whoever that might be within your team environment. Because doing nothing about, you know, if you've got a concern, doing nothing about that certainly doesn't alleviate the problem. You need to tackle things head on. You need to take responsibility for whatever comes your way, even if those contribute to unfavorable circumstances and situations. Because, you know, sometimes showing up and being transparent, contributing, being upfront, it can be, you know, to a degree, these things, admitting your wrongdoings, they can be a little confronting. So, but if you're being transparent all the time, it'll become less confronting for you. And you will see what I mean in the next few slides in regards to that. So here we've got a lovely picture on some words in accountability, and I'll just read a few of them off the screen. And you can see there's some pretty strong words there. Governance and, you know, morals and ethics and core values. These are some pretty strong words that are associated with accountability. So, you know, it's not about living up to all those words, but it's taking on that understanding of that's what the word means. That's what it means in a corporate situation, in an organization, in a team situation. These are the things people are looking for in you. So the next one we've got, what does it mean to be accountable? So accountability is something that you must take on yourself. It is the ability to claim your actions as your own and discuss your reasons behind them. So everyone can see the work that you're doing, and we discussed that before. People can see whether you're committed to the task or not. It allows you to become autonomous, being able to work alone and in a structured, goal-setted environment. So when everyone can see your work, sorry, a bit of a mumble there. When everyone can see your work, it's easy to care about the quality and make thoughtful decisions because you are, you know, within the eyes of everyone. Your work becomes an extension of yourself, ideally, and explaining your actions becomes second nature to you because, you know, you're putting it out there. So, and it's the same whether you're an employee, a subordinate. I don't really like that word, so let's just stick with employee maybe. When they are expected to be transparent and accountable for their actions, not only when working with customers, but also with their peers and bosses. creates a level of trustworthiness. People want to trust you, whether you work for yourself or whether you work with a team, organisation, it doesn't matter. You need to be seen as trustworthy. So the transparency helps with that. And this keeps issues out in the open. And if there is a problem, it offers a roadmap where everyone can sit down and nut out, the core problem, what's instigated the core to the problem. People want to know when you're committed. People want to see the commitment from you. You will do your best, and no matter the outcome, you will hold yourself accountable. So this helps take the pressure off your team members. This helps take the pressure off other people you work with, because ideally no one wants blame thrown at them. So if everyone's staying accountable for their actions, then their ability, they become autonomous. Everyone can work as individuals because they're being responsible for themselves. So the next slide is a picture of some cogs turning. And I think this is a pretty important way to sort of look at it, because if you consider those cogs as your team members or a part of your business, each cog is a different part of your business and where you show up to your business. And I think all those parts have to move together. If they're not well oiled and they're not moving together, then the process will stop. And ideally in business, you don't want the process to stop. You need to keep everything working. So I do like the idea of the cogs. I think they're pretty cool. Okay, so the third one for the week is, what does accountability look like? So I'll just read this off the screen. A successful leader, in brackets, organisational, project or otherwise, needs to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. So if you say you're going to do something, you do it. That is accountability. So here you need to, it's got some things like you need to set an example. People will model your behaviour. Accountability is seen in your actions. You are effectively a part of the solution. So are you walking the walk or just talking the talk? I think it's pretty interesting concept. You need to set an example of accountability, not just once in a while, but all the time. People are watching you as a leader, as someone who is a professional in your in your life, ideally, whether, it doesn't matter whether you're a manager of a shop or a manager of your own business or within an organization, people are watching you all the time. So you need to be accountable all the time, because they're going to model your behavior. They're going to do as you do. If you don't perform to your promises, why should anybody else? It all starts with our leaders, with you as a leader, and you build a culture of accountability through your own actions. So I think that's pretty important. We can't just hope and assume that people will be accountable. We need to hold each other and ourselves. We need to review, check in, and if you're in a team environment, see if people need your help. Some people, as I said, they get a little bit worried about admitting their wrongdoings, and they might make excuses, and they're not being as transparent. And it's a lot of the time it's because they're just worried. So as a leader, be the one to ask them if they're okay, if they need help, because that will build your accountability within your workplace. And it's pretty easy to check in with people. Like, it takes 5 minutes of your time. And if you're a busy manager, then put it in your diary weekly. This is check-in time, allocate time for it. Because these points, these opportunities of support, praise, and encouraging each other will keep people happy in the workplace, and they will keep them more accountable. So again, are you walking the walk or just talking the talk? I have lost my mouse. I keep losing my mouse. There we go. So an accountable person will see a problem and firstly look inside themselves to see if they can be a part of the solution. And I think that's pretty important. they don't point the finger, they don't blame others, and while they may enlist help from others, they certainly do not blame others. Accountability leads to a psychological safety, which increases performance. And that safety is where we were talking about before with people feeling good that their other team members feeling good that they're not going to, the blame's not going to be shifted onto them in the event that something does go wrong. So here we have the next slide. So the accountability and responsibility, it's always something that you are balancing because when you are accountable, you are being responsible. They do not mean the same things. You are just being an accountable and responsible person, and you are balancing them out. So we're at that time for the summary. So we discussed 6 ways on how to show your accountability. And just to re-mention them, we talked about admitting your wrongdoings, taking pride in your work, not making excuses, being transparent, contributing, and being upfront. Pretty important points there. We also looked at what it means to be accountable, and we discussed transparency. So, you know, when it comes to explaining your actions, if you're always being transparent, it's a lot easier and it becomes second nature in the event that something does go wrong. You don't feel like you're on the back foot coming forward in admitting that, you know, you've got a problem. We also looked at commitment, and that means whether it's up to yourself or your own business or as an employee. Commitment is really important in accountability. I also discussed that it creates being an autonomous worker, and because managers don't want to micromanage you. They want you to be able to, they want you to be set a task and for you to be able to walk away and do the task. And that doesn't mean you don't come to them for help or put your hand up, but accountability is something that everyone needs to understand. It's not a bad word. And I know in some organisations it's sort of been used in a way of punishing people, and people get worried about coming forward. Don't ever be worried about coming forward to show your accountability. We also looked at what accountability looks like. So again, are you walking the walk or just talking the talk? People want to see it. They want to they want to see you, and they want to see you being accountable, especially as a leader in your workplace. If you're a leader in the field that you do, people want to model your behavior. They will follow you and they will model you. So always remember, you are in the eyes. You are always in the eyes. Okay, so here we are. So that's a wrap for week 4. Thank you everyone who jumped online for this webinar. For those of you who didn't make today and did register, you will receive a copy of this in your email. I will also, this is being sent live with the PowerPoint to my Professional Women's Collective group. So if you'd like to join that, please do. Happy to have you. You can also find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. So this was week 4 of 8 of Top Tips for Accountability. My webinars are at 10:30 on Friday mornings. And just to re-mention my hypnosis session that I'm running on Thursday the 9th at 8 p.m. That will be on procrastination. So don't procrastinate and join in. It'll be fun. Thank you again for everyone joining me. And until next time, I will see you this time next week. And this is Jodie Simmons from Taking Perspective. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone on Facebook. Cheers. Bye. Good morning, everyone on Facebook.